friends, it's Jessie here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. I am in my Budget by Paycheck workbook today, and we are going to take a look at the budget for the week of January 12th through January 18th. So if you are not familiar with my channel, if this is your first time here, first of all, welcome. I'll give you just a quick rundown of our financial situation. So I am 36 years old. I'm married to my loving husband. We have been together for nearly 20 years and married for about 15 of those years. Almost 15. I think we celebrate 15 years in March. And we have two children. Robert is 18. He just turned 18. Austin is turning 13 this week. We live in Southeast Michigan. We are a primarily single income household. My husband works full-time as a sewer and drain cleaning plumber. He gets paid based on commission, so his paychecks are not consistent. He doesn't make the same amount every single week. And I bring in a little tiny bit of income here from my YouTube channel, but we don't have anything coming in from YouTube this week, so when we are doing the budget this week, we are primarily just getting things paid using my husband's income. His paycheck this week was a little bit lower than we typically see. He just didn't earn quite as much last week. He didn't have as many jobs, and so to help beef up the amount of money that we have for our budget this week, I pulled money that we had left over from last week's budget and rolled it over to this week. Typically what I will do if we have money left over from a budget is I will pay it right towards the debt that we are currently working on. We are using the debt snowball method to try to tackle our debt. It is our goal to be credit card debt free by the end of this year. So typically if I have money left over, I will put it towards debt. But because I knew that we had a bit of a shorter paycheck this week, I took that money and instead rolled it over. So we don't talk about income here on my channel. I don't disclose what my husband brings in. So I don't have an overall income total to share with you, but just know that $77 of what we are using this week came from last week's budget. You would have seen that if you watched my budget results video. So now let's talk about what we are going to do with the money we brought in this week. So under my bills category, I list out all of the things that I'm going to be paying with either my debit card or my checking account. So any bills that we pay, as well as my groceries, because I typically use the Walmart grocery pickup. And so that is an order I place online. It gets deducted right from my bank account, so I do not do my grocery money in cash. A lot of the spending that we do use cash for, using cash envelopes, but that's one of the things that we do not. So that is why that is under bills. Just a quick little explanation. So for groceries this week, I have budgeted $75. That is not typically what I budget. I usually budget closer to $150, but I am in the process of doing a January pantry challenge where I try to really focus on using up what we have in our pantry and our freezer and spending less on groceries for the month. So I cut my budget in half for this week. We're just going to buy what we need to supplement what we already have and create my meal plan based around that. So I budgeted $75 for that. And then I have a couple of bills I'm going to pay this week. So DTE is my electric bill. We are on the budget program with our utilities, so we pay the exact same amount every single month for our electric bill as well as our gas bill. They just kind of add up your year's worth of services and divide by 12 and give you an average, and that's what you pay every month. It really helps to keep our electric bill lower in the summer when we're running our air conditioner all the time, and it keeps our gas bill lower in the winter when we are running the heat all the time. So it just kind of gives us an average. So for DTE, I'm budgeting $212. That is what I expect will come out. And for Michigan Gas, which is our gas company, we are budgeting $40. So we're just paying what needs to be paid this week. We're not paying any extra to any bills like we sometimes do. We just kept it a pretty bare bones basic budget this week. So our bill total is $327. Next up, I have cash envelopes. And for our cash envelopes, we are doing our typical amount. I was originally going to lower it to 180, but because I was able to roll over that amount from last week's budget, I'm actually going to do what we typically do. So my husband's going to get $40. I'm going to get $40. We have an extra little line item here for Austin, who is my 13-year-old son. He's earned essentially his allowance. He does extra things here and there and earns an extra kind of $20. About once a month usually this happens. Sometimes it's more often, but typically it's around once a month he'll earn some extra cash. So we'll pull out $20 to give to him. I'm going to put $40 into my gas budget, $40 for miscellaneous, and $40 for eating out, which should be a grand total of $220. So that is the plan for our cash envelopes. Moving up to sinking funds, we're not doing a whole lot with sinking funds this month, or this week rather. Typically, if we have a lower paycheck, that's kind of the first thing that we cut out. Usually if I have a short paycheck, I won't add anything to my sinking funds. However, it's Austin's birthday this week, and I pretty much exhausted our birthday sinking fund last week when we celebrated my oldest son's 18th birthday. We spent quite a bit more than I expected. We decided to really do it up right for his, big 1-8. So because that sinking fund is empty, I have to have money to celebrate Austin's birthday. So in lieu of gifts, we always give our kids just $100 cash. And so $150 of that is going to go straight to Austin along with that $20 that he earned. And he can save his cash and use it for whatever he wants. This other $50 we will use towards an extra special birthday dinner, birthday cake, that sort of thing. So $150 is going to go into our birthday sinking fund. If you're not familiar with sinking funds, by the way, sinking funds are just little mini savings goals that you have for expenses that you know are coming up throughout the year, but that aren't necessarily things that happen weekly or monthly. They happen less often than that, but you know that they're coming. So I always like to use Christmas as an example for a good sinking fund to start. If you are the type to spend a lot of money on Christmas, Christmas comes every year on December 25th, and so rather than waiting until December to worry about how you're going to pay for Christmas gifts and inevitably swiping a credit card or trying to scramble to pull that money out of your typical budget, just save a little bit here and there throughout the year so that when Christmas rolls around, you have it. We have just under 20 sinking funds that we have active as part of our budget, but obviously, as you can see, we don't add to all of those sinking funds every single week, or even every single month. We just pick and choose the sinking funds we're going to add money to based on how much money we have extra kind of left over after we take care of all of our expenses, and what our goals are for that week. So $150, 2 birthdays this week, and like I said, that's essentially going to go into that sinking fund and then be immediately pulled out and spent for Austin's birthday. And then we have one more birthday in January. That's my husband's birthday, so we will be adding even more probably next week. Okay, so that's it for sinking funds. Now we're going to move on to extra debt. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that we use the debt snowball method. We are currently working on paying off a Discover card. Typically with the debt snowball, you list your debts from least amount to greatest amount and you tackle the lowest amount first. But at this point in our debt snowball, we actually jumped ahead to a card that has a higher balance, but it's currently sitting interest-free, and the interest-free period ends in March. So we decided to tackle that next with our debt snowball so that we can hopefully get it paid off before that interest kicks in. We have built up our snowball over the course of the last year, and we now pay $173 every single week towards debt. We really like to make progress on our debt weekly. This is another something that if we were to bring in a paycheck that was extremely low for the week, because my husband is paid based on commission and his paychecks aren't consistent, occasionally we will skip a debt snowball payment if we really need that money to go towards other things, other bills. But luckily this week's paycheck was just a tiny bit shorter than usual, so we were able to still make that $173 debt snowball payment, which is exciting. Every little bit helps. Lastly, I have my extra savings categories. So if you watched my January savings challenge video, you would know that we are doing 2 different savings challenges throughout 2021, and they are Savopoly and the 52-week savings challenge. So I thought I would go ahead and flip to those printables here on camera and figure out how much we are going to save this week for those 2 savings challenges. So first up, I have Savopoly, which is a fun printable savings challenge I found at mothermeandI.com. I believe I paid just a couple of dollars for this printable, and it's essentially Monopoly only for savings. So you roll a dice, you go around the board, and the property that you land on correlates with how much money that you save. So last week when we did this, I landed on this spot here worth $9, and so that is the spot that I am going to start on today when I roll. I have an app here on my phone that is a dice roller app, and that is what I use rather than pulling out like a actual pair of dice. So now I will just go ahead and click tap to roll the dice. Alright, and we're going to move 9 spaces today. So I'm going to start out here at this $9 mark, and we're going to go 9 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we are going to save $19 this week. And I'm just going to put the paycheck date on it so that I know that that is where I stopped. So we are going to go with 112. And I'm going to write up here in this box that I saved $19. So I'm going to flip back to this paycheck bill tracker and write in that for Savopoly we are going to save $19. And next I have the 52-week savings challenge, and for this page I will just pick and choose which amount I want to save based on how much money we have this week, what other amount that we saved. So because we did $19 for the Savopoly, and because we have a little bit less to work with this week, I'm going to grab a highlighter and we're going to save, let's see, let's just save $1 this week and make it an even 20. I know it's not a lot, you guys, but like I said, a little bit of a shorter paycheck this week, plus every little tiny bit helps. So we're just going to save $1 for the 52-week savings challenge. So let me flip back to my budget page. So for the 52 weeks, we're going to just save $1 for a total of $20 for the week. So that is a look at the budget. Pretty bare bones, but that's all right. Some weeks are super full, some weeks are less full. Either way, as long as we cover our bills and our expenses, that's what really matters. So the next step in my budgeting process then is to figure out how much cash I need to pull out of the bank. And so I'm going to look at all of the categories that I have that I pull out in cash. For me, that is cash envelopes, sinking funds, and extra savings. I will take those categories then and write them in on the cash envelope breakdown page, as well as their amounts, and then I will break down which denominations I want to take from the bank. So I'll go ahead and write in the category and the amounts. We'll do the cash breakdown together. Give me just a second. Okay, so I've gone ahead then and written in the categories and their amounts, and now we can break down what denominations I want to pull from the bank. So for my husband, he gets $40. We know that we are going to want 2 20s for that, and I'm going to take 2 20s for myself as well. Austin is going to get 1 20. Gas will get 2 20s. Miscellaneous will get 2 20s. And eating out will get 2 20s. So that's pretty easy peasy. For birthdays, we will do a 100 and a 50. For Savopoly, we will do a 10, a 5, and 4 ones. And for the 52-week savings challenge, we will do just a single. So that's going to mean we are going to want 5 singles for a total of $5. We're going to want 1 5, which is also a total of $5. 1 10 for a total of $10. 2 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 20s, which is a total of $220. 1 50 for $50, and 1 100 for $100. And now I'm going to, I forgot to total this up, so I will total this up first. 40 plus 40 plus 20 plus 40 plus 40 plus 40 plus 150 plus 19 plus 1 is a total of $390. So now I just have to make sure that this total equals this total so that I know I didn't make any mistakes. Last week I made so many mistakes doing this. But this week we are right on the money, $390. So I am going to go to the bank, pull out the cash that I need in these denominations, and then we'll come back and we will stuff these cash envelopes together. Okay, so I laid out all of my money, and now I am set up and ready to stuff my cash envelopes. So let's just go ahead and get this started. For my husband's spending, we're going to pull $40, 2 20s. I don't have an envelope for him, so I will just set this off to the side. And I like to check things off as I go, so I set his money off to the side. Next is my spending, and I'm going to get $40 as well, also 2 20s. So I'm going to pull out 2 20s from my stack here, and I'm going to grab my wallet. All of my cash envelopes are starting out empty. This is my Conscious wallet, by the way. This is the wallet that I use. In it, I have envelopes from Life in Envelopes, who I absolutely love. She has a channel here on YouTube, and she has a great Etsy shop with fun stickers and cash envelopes. So I'm going to put $40 into my spending money. Gasoline, I know, also is going to get $40, 2 20s. So that will go in there. Eating out gets 2 20s as well. This goes super quick and easy because it's 2 20s all the way across the board. And then my miscellaneous envelope gets 2 20s as well. The only other envelopes I have in here are my debt snowball envelope. At the end of the week, if I have cash left over in any of these envelopes, I will stick it in this debt snowball envelope to go towards an extra debt payment. And then the other envelope I have here is a deposit envelope where I put any money throughout the week that I spend. So these categories are cash categories, right? But if I use a credit card or a debit card to spend in one of these categories, just because it's easier that way, or I can't use cash for whatever reason, I will take the cash from this, whatever envelope it is, and put it into this deposit envelope. That money will then go into the bank to cover the purchase that I made on my credit card or my debit card. So that's how I handle cash transactions when I can't use cash. And that is everything for my cash envelopes. So let me really quickly just check the ones off that I just added. And I'm going to skip back up here to Austin. I'm going to pull this last 20 here and set this aside for my son, Austin. He doesn't have an envelope either. Actually, he does have an envelope where he saves money, but I will let him decide whether he wants to spend that $20 or if he wants to put it into his little savings. Either way, I've set that aside for him. Now we're going to move on to the categories that I keep in my accordion folder. This is where I keep my sinking funds as well as my extra savings. I like to keep my sinking funds in cash. I know that that's not everyone's cup of tea, but that's what I like to do. So inside my accordion folder, each of my sinking funds has its own tab. They are labeled with a clear label so that I can easily flip through and find the category that I need to spend from or need to add money to. Behind each of these tabs is the stack of cash that is in the fund, as well as a index card where I keep track of the comings and goings in that account, essentially. So we're going to add $150 to my birthdays fund. My birthdays fund is currently empty, as I mentioned, so I just like to write the date, which is the 12th, and I like to add in. If it's just a deposit, I just put a little plus sign and write down how much money I'm adding. If I'm taking something away, I will typically write a subtraction sign, what that amount was, and then a little note for myself in terms of what I spent that money on. So that's just how I do it. You can do this any way you want. So for today, the 12th, I'm adding $150, and that will be a total of $150 since this started out empty. So I'm going to take this 100 and this 50, and that will go back behind the birthdays tab here in my accordion folder. There we go. And now I'm just going to go into the savings tab and pull out my Savopoly and my 52-week savings challenge. Both of those go behind the same tab. That's just how I've chosen to do it. And let me check off that I added to birthdays. For Savopoly, we're adding $19, so that's going to be a 10, a 5, and 4 of these ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm just going to write in that I added 19. 9 plus 19 is 28, if I am not mistaken. So then this money will just get added to the pot here. And I will count it up and make sure I do in fact have 28. So 10, 15, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So that's Savopoly. And my 52-week savings challenge, we are just adding $1, and that's going to round this up to $20. Hey, it's only $1, but every dollar counts, you guys. So we're going to count this to 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So in 2 weeks, since I started these challenges, I have a total of $48 saved. So it's just small amounts of money, but it adds up. These funds will go back behind my savings tab. At some point, I think I'll probably make envelopes for these so that they're not just separate stacks of cash and they're actually like separated, but for now, this works just fine. All right, you guys, that's it for my budget for the week. It was super short and sweet. We got through it pretty quick because it was a pretty basic, bare bones budget, but I hope you enjoyed this video nonetheless. If you did, please take a minute and click the thumbs up button. That really helps me out. Leave me a comment down below. That helps me out as well. I would love to hear from you. I love chit-chatting with you guys in the comments. Make sure that you click the subscribe button so that you never miss a video. I post new budgeting and lifestyle content here on my channel every single week. I would love to have you come back, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, friends!